Thank you for tuning in to Divine Times. This is Hilton Milan. Hi. And in tuning into Divine Times, I'd like you to meet my special guest, Brandon Ling.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Brandon.
Hello.
And Stephen, our stand-in guardian angel.
Thanks for showing up.
Awesome.
Stephen really helps, ground the possibility of sort of divine intelligence coming in. And in my meeting up with you, just in this last year, through men's work, I'll call it brotherhood, men that have invested themselves in a men's weekend, to having a sincere and a strong relationship with other men so that we can be better in our communities, with our families, with our spouses, our siblings, our parents. There's also been a real drive in coaching, personal and business coaching, and that's your business, and where we actually got to know each other.
Yes.
And I'm so passionate about coaching, but why are you passionate about coaching? And your company, RSC BGA, and it stands for Robert S. Chung Consulting, Business Group Alpha.com. But
Yes.
Tell us why you got into coaching and a little bit about what works.
I got into it because I actually, I studied graphic design in university. So,
All right. So you like to make things beautiful, or what was the driver for that?
Well, originally I wanted to go into computer animation because I really like special effects in films. But then
Was that the blowing up special effects, or what were the special effects that you
making spaceships.
Spaceships.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to do.
And spaceships because?
I just thought it was neat. I like doing things with my hands.
So
building
spaceships,
things.
but like in the mind, a spaceship had to go into space and into new frontiers.
Oh yes, but this would be just for movies, not for real.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't. No, as a kid, I thought that would be too risky to actually have that much responsibility on my hands to actually build something for real that would go into space. So I got into graphic design because of that, because Sheridan College, they required at the time a degree or diploma in art first,
Yes.
before taking their animation course. But along the way, when I learned more about what was involved with computer animation, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to sit in front of a computer all day. And so I stuck with graphic design for a few years. But along the way, even though I really love graphic design, and I love looking at the design of things in
Yes.
general,
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do for my whole career. I could see myself doing it for 10 years or so, but beyond that I wasn't sure. So I did some searching in terms of what do I really want to do with my life? What do
Yes.
and
So this was in your 20s, is that right?
Yes, this was in my 20s. And
mid-20s type thing.
yes, exactly, mid-20s. And then I arrived
A decade ago or something like that.
yes.
All right. Not that we're trying to age you.
Oh, I'm 38. There you go. But I was around 26, 27 when I was looking at this, and I was doing some personal development at the time. And what I arrived at, what I really wanted to do.
When you say personal development, why were you investigating that?
Oh, let's see. I graduated in 2003.
Yes.
And then 3 years had gone by, and I still hadn't started my career yet. And I realized, I'm in a bit of a rut. I was, in terms of graphic design, I needed a portfolio to get a job.
Yes.
And I was procrastinating on getting that done because I was trying to get it perfect. And so I'd start things, and then I wouldn't complete the project. I'd get close to it, and then I'd start fiddling, trying to get it perfect, and I'd move on to something else. So when someone told me about some personal development courses, hey, you know what? That might actually help me. So I took it, and then I got my portfolio completed 3 months afterwards.
That's great.
So that helped quite a bit. It opened
Yes.
my eyes to certain things. But in terms of going into coaching,
Yeah.
what I realized, what I really want to do in my life was help other people achieve their goals and have the type of life that they wanted.
Yes.
And this is after I'd started training with Robert Chun as an intern.
How did that happen? Why were you attracted to RSC?
Someone I used to go to university with, I bumped into him 3 years after we had graduated, and he was quite different. In university, he seemed very serious. I never spoke to him, but he seemed very serious. I saw him walking around and seemed stressed out. Didn't
Serious
talk much.
and significant.
Yes. And we were in the same program. There were only about 110 persons, so we knew everybody. But
And to get into that program, was that a fairly elite program or advanced program? That
I don't know about elite, but it became known as I think the best graphic design program in Ontario at the time.
Right.
And I think it was like 1 in 100 actually got into the program,
okay.
or maybe 1 in 30 applicants. That
Yeah,
might be
something
more
like that.
accurate.
Significant
Something like
talent
that.
and skill development.
So your friend, how did you see that he changed?
So when I met him 3 years afterwards, he was very talkative, very energetic, seemed very happy. I thought, wow, he's weird. This is
From what
strange.
I know,
You know?
he was
Yeah,
weird.
what happened?
Now he's even more weird.
And we kept in touch through email afterwards. And then he told me at some point that he was going to New York to take some course. And I asked him, what kind of course are you taking? And he said, I'll tell you after I come back. And I thought, that's a weird response. And why don't you just
Yeah.
tell me now? And then he introduced me to those personal development courses. And then he started working on staff at the company. And it just happened to be that that's how he got connected to Robert in Los Angeles.
yes.
And then at some point, I guess the person that I knew at university, he left the company,
Yes.
and Robert started training him and coaching him, and then got a call one day and said, "Hey, would you like to join me as an intern? Be trained as business coaches and consultants." And I thought, well, sure, why not? It's free education. So the reason why I got into it was I knew I wanted to start a business of my own,
Yes.
but I didn't know how to start one or how to run one. And from speaking to a few persons who had started a business right out of university, they seem to have gone through the same type of challenges and came up with the same solution. And I thought, well, if people are likely to encounter certain situations and come up with the same solution, instead of me reinventing the wheel, I'd rather learn from somebody who already
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
So I did the internship part-time during the evenings and weekends while I worked full-time as a graphic designer.
Yes.
That's smart.
I thought so.
We got to be practical too.
And your next steps from there?
Well, after that, then I did more personal development, and then I think a few years later, that's when I realized what I wanted to do was help people achieve their goals and have the type of life they wanted. And so, given the two things that I was trained for, graphic design or coaching and consulting for businesses, coaching and consulting was a more direct way to help people in that direction.
Yes.
So I switched.
All right.
So now you graphically design people's lives.
It's
To a
suppose so.
degree.
Yeah, we do design. Yeah, that is one way to look at it. We do design their businesses and lives to achieve what they want, or we help them build what they've designed in their head, and
That's
help them
great.
clarify the design.
Yeah. And I guess that sometimes do you have people that resist going forward?
Yes, yeah.
What do you do at that point?
We look at it as there are many ways to get to the same destination. So then we try to find alternate routes, right? Whenever there's some sort of obstacle. I mean, we'll help them. The first attempt is usually helping them try to overcome that obstacle. But if they really don't want to face it, then we see if there's a different way to achieve goals.
It's like non-resistance, like water.
Yeah, from that point of view, you could say that we're. I think that's also the smarter way. It takes less energy, but also you could say that we're lazy. We'll find the path of least resistance, right?
Well, the path of least resistance sometimes is the best. It's like you said, if they're not willing to change, you can incorporate that non-change into a larger change by keep flowing.
Yes, exactly. And it's interesting they mentioned flowing, because that's one of the things that we do look at is in terms of the way the universe works. Things are always flowing from one place to another, and so we try to have our methodology align with the way the universe and the world already works. So if people want to grow their business, whether it's make more money or have a better lifestyle, all right, well, how can we have things flow from one point to another that enables that, right? So if it's, say, money, then how do we have money flow through their business so that they can have more money? And then by that extension, they can improve the quality of lives for themselves as well as for their employees and their whole company, right? So that way, everybody involved benefits. And then when people resist the flow of something, just like a water pipe, if you block a water pipe, then there's going to be pressure that builds up, and usually not a good time.
Yeah, there is a breakdown or a blow up.
Exactly.
So when they happen, what do you do then?
Sorry, what
when there's a
happens?
breakdown or a blow up, how does the coaching, methodology that you use work through these things and help people?
Well, we help them, essentially, I guess, clean up the mess in that analogy, right? Repair whatever's broken, and help them understand what happened, so that and develop a new process so that it doesn't happen again in the future.
Yes.
And then, if they are resistant to that, then and they are hell bent on doing the same thing that will lead to another blow up, then we prepare to help them put things back together when the next thing happens, or help them go through that blow up quicker, so that there's less downside. So they get to choose, and we'll help them either way.
So are the principles and practices of RSC such that they guide you so that you don't break down and you're actually breaking through, and then you're modeling that? Or how is it that you actually form this coaching relationship, and what is the ideal for you to work with?
I think the short answer is yes.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah,
answer.
I mean, like, to give you an example, we have a company charter, and there are certain core values and certain culture.
Would you highlight some of those that are most meaningful?
Well, let's see. One that I'm not personally that good at is to have fun. Because for me, I'm not good at mixing fun with work. I
Okay.
usually tend to go one or the other. So when I'm working, I'm usually more serious. So that's one that me personally, I need to work on to become better at. But some of the values include being humble.
Yes.
Regardless of how good we become, the idea is to still know that there'll still be someone or something above us, right?
Yes. And in that someone or something, can the something be attributed to maybe a bit of the divine? It doesn't matter that it's belief systems, but something bigger, wiser or more.
Yes, absolutely.
More than us alone, or even us with someone else or a group. Something that is a central, infinite, guiding intelligence, love, force, energy.
Yes, and that's why we don't specify what that thing or someone would be, because we leave it open to whatever an individual believes in.
Yes.
Because we're not trying to change anybody to conform to our way of doing things. We want to guide them in a certain way, but then leave enough room and flexibility for them to be who they are, rather than say, hey, you have to be this way.
So it's working with their energy and with some effect or intelligence that will allow their vision to be more realized and manifest easier, quicker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me just say a couple of things that's, that has been evoked by your statements, that you don't impose your views upon people, but you allow them to develop their own view to make themselves successful. And that's like producing a matrix on a piece of jelly or a mold on a piece of jelly so that you can shape your universe according to this particular shape or matrix. And if the matrix you're presently using doesn't work, then you can give them input on how to change the matrix through which they're looking at their life and experiencing their life. And you could give them a small example. This is from my point of view. You can tell them to walk down the street, and everybody they look at, swear at them. Within a couple blocks, people will be chasing you. Because of this subtle thing you're putting out, because of this matrix you're holding, nobody's good, they're all bad, and it's just like it has an effect on the world. Now you can go down the street and you can look at everybody as just human beings with their own difficulties, their own limitations, but we're all human. And you walk down the street and two of the people talk to you. So if you help people build the right kind of matrix, then they manifest success on many levels. And sometimes the matrix that they hold is unconscious.
Yes.
But you can't make that unconscious conscious too quickly, because that would unbalance them. And like you said, sometimes you just go around it. But sometimes you help them understand that impediment they have within themselves. When they do that, then the goal of success manifests. So you've given them a reference structure, an example of how to be successful. And it's all happened within them from the input that you have, so that it's a win-win situation. I won't say more than that. That's too much, really. But that's just a point of view.
Well, I think, I agree with it. I mean, we don't, and something you mentioned about how, not having people go too quickly in terms of becoming, I think, aware of certain things.
Yes.
Yeah, we go at people's, their own pace, because, I mean, we can't really push anybody to go quicker than they want to. If we try to, we're going to spend a lot of energy and they're going to push back.
Yes. Right.
And it's not going to be a benefit to them anyway. So, we go at their pace, and it does require a lot of patience, which is something that over time with working with people I've developed greater patience. But there's still ways for me to go. I can still improve in terms of patience, but I remember someone asking Robert what was the greatest quality he had that allows him to be successful, and he said patience.
Yes.
He has an incredible amount of patience for people. Yeah.
I found that I had the opportunity to review and hear some of the RSC charter, which had at least a dozen or more points, significant points, and it read like a constitution that was a constitution for humanity's right and individuals' abilities to succeed and contribute and make a difference and to grow.
Yes.
And it's actually, it seemed to be a model that is endearing. The coaching model to me is almost necessary to help all of us in the world find our divine times each moment, each day, in every action.
Yeah, I mean, it's designed to be, what we're out to do is to make the world a better place. We're just approaching it through building businesses.
One business at a time, one
Yeah.
entrepreneur, or one group of entrepreneurs at a time.
Exactly. Because, generally people work for somebody, and That's also just our area of focus. And also what we've, from our point of view, if we want to produce change, different types of organizations go at different paces. Like the
Yes.
government moves at a certain pace for creating new laws and policies that affect society.
Yes.
From our point of view, businesses move the quickest because they seem to be the most overall, as a group, the quickest to change and have a change on society. So since we want to make the world a better place for everyone, then businesses are the place that we're looking to make the change because we think that'll produce the quickest change overall. And we do want the world to be better for everyone, regardless of their culture and their beliefs, so that it's
Yes.
inclusive for everyone, and so that people of different cultures can get along better with each other and have what they want without us, and they get without us imposing anything on them. So that way they get to keep what makes them unique or different
Yes.
from everybody else. So in a way, if the way we've designed a charter, and Robert's written most of it.
Yes.
The way we look at it is creating almost like a glue, in terms of gluing all the cultures of the world together so that they can understand each other and then get along with each other.
Yes.
Because we believe that a lot of issues or difficulties between groups of people is really due to communication, or that it can be resolved in communication, but that it's some version of not understanding each other.
And not accepting each other.
Exactly, right? Because overall, I mean, people are somewhat complex because of our emotions, but in terms of what people really want, generally the same around the world, at least in terms of our beliefs. People want to be happy, they want to survive, they want to be comfortable, they want to love and be loved, and
Yes.
so on, right?
Yeah, the human psyche is the same.
Yeah.
Outwardly, we're a little bit different, but the human psyche has been around for millions of years. In the last 100,000, it's like we're all the same.
Yeah, we have the same design, pretty much, for the
Yes.
most part.
Same architect.
Exactly.
Something comes through my mind, which is not really on topic here, but Hilton and I could use $1 million. If any of your clients have $1 million that they wish to invest, and we do it with you because you would design the whole business, so it pays them back their $1 million plus $500,000 each for us guys.
Right. There are some who are looking to invest in what they're looking to invest in that I'd have to find out more about. And
Okay,
then
just
in terms
plant
of
it with you as a
what you're
possibility.
looking to build, then I'd have to find out more about that as well.
Okay, we'll do that after the show, but that just came to me as, like, we would like to work with you because you have a capacity that I don't see often. And it's like, if you work with the right people, the right things happen quickly. And this way, we wouldn't have to pay to be coached. We'd get it free, but we'd all get a payday at the end,
Right.
and it would be a win-win situation for everybody.
Actually, it's interesting because what you mentioned that I have qualities that you don't often see. So I'm curious because I'm me. I don't necessarily see how other people see me. So,
Okay,
yeah, what do
exactly.
you see?
I see a young man and a good person, and you have a certain energetic flow. And it's like what you say you're doing. Like you don't let anything that happens around you impede your flow. You go around it, under it, through it if necessary, but you just keep on going. And by doing that, you're respecting people's space. And so change will happen naturally around you because you don't impose your view, but your point of view gets reflected in them in a very non-threatening way. And it's in that reflection that they can heal themselves. And that allows them to also achieve their goal, because the goal is one thing, you are another unless you in the goal are connected, because it's like this, you're like this. And if you take some of these blocks away, you can see your goal and the connection is made. But it doesn't happen unless someone says, it's okay not to see, which you do. I'm going to help you get to the goal. And that not threatening, non-resistive approach to people allows them maybe to take down one hand and go, oh, and then the second hand, and then they accomplish their goals very quickly. They may attribute to you, that's the reason it happened, they may not, but you don't want them to attribute anything, you just want them to get to their goal. That's almost like a, well, if they're younger than you, it's like a big brother. And if they're older than you, it's like you help the old people up the stairs. You don't want anything back from it. But energetically, you're very integrated.
Thank you.
The energy is very easy to be around. And you viewers out there, you can have access to this young man.
Yes. Is there a phone number to reach you at, Brandon?
Yes. Let me see. And I remember because, let's see, it's not like when I was a kid where we used to memorize people's phone numbers now with cell phones. 647
Yes.
556
Yes.
3026.
Yes.
And a website or email or whatever you?
Yeah, so the website is rscbga.com. And, there's a form to contact us should there be any questions or want to reach out.
And the best people to reach out to potential clients, who would they be for you at this time?
Well, we work with all sorts of different types of businesses, different industries, because the fundamentals of business are the same regardless of industry or area. Currently, we're looking to help people who are starting new businesses or they're very early on in the business.
Yes.
Or any small business they've reached a certain point where they can't seem to get beyond a certain obstacle or they've plateaued somewhere, right?
Yes.
And they could be really successful, but they just can't get over a hurdle, or maybe they know that there's something not working that well in their business. They may be frustrated, tried a whole bunch of things that haven't worked.
So you coach them to break through and transform and realize the new dream or the bigger dream or the next result.
Yes, because we look at the design of their business. Going back to how you're saying that, you mentioned that we design essentially their life or their business. So we look at the design of their business because the design produces certain types of results, just like the design of any machine.
Structure and function go together.
Exactly, right? Or like a recipe. You're cooking, if you follow the recipe, it's going to produce certain dish.
Yes.
If you alter the recipe or modify it in any way, then you get something either slightly different or very different. So we look at what are the processes they're following and the results they're getting, and if they're not happy with the results, then we go and redesign things so that they do get the results they're looking for.
And this process will start, and then it goes on for a couple of months or half a year or a few years usually for people to realize their transformations?
It depends on their what their goals are.
Sure.
Right? Certain goals take longer to achieve, and it also depends on whether, I guess, how willing they are, what speed they're willing to go at, right? If they're resistant, then it'll be slower. If they're very willing, then it'll go quicker. Or depending on what sort of things they're willing or not willing to do, and how we need to either go around them, it varies.
So it seems then the best investment in an entrepreneur's business is also investing in themselves with some coaching to help them see beyond their own, pardon the pun, blind spots.
Yes, and if they're very resistant, then but they still want to work with us, then we'll just design the business to work and achieve their goals regardless of, and they don't have to change. They can still do whatever they currently do, and we'll just design everything around them.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I knew there was a reason I so admired RSC Group.
Yeah. So it's, we're pretty flexible that way.
Yeah. how flexible and powerful has been my experience. I can't thank you enough for joining us today, Brandon.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, this has been a very great experience. It's been very pleasurable. It was very interesting meeting you, and
It's a very interesting synthesis of energies here.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the synthesis of energies, this show has sort of been birthed to not define, but to celebrate divine times, happening. This intelligence that becomes common, higher to everyone winning. And I thank you again for your part in that. I encourage our viewers to not just tune in, but reach out and contact us, and make your life divine. So again, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Stephen, Guardian Angel, and thank you, each and every one of you. Let your divine shine. This is Hilton Milan. Till again. We'll see you in the light.